Bangla City SATV News. This is Shibala Alam with our headlines. Bangladesh observes Martyred Intellectuals Day today. President and Prime Minister paid tributes. Noakhali court sentenced 13 people to 10 years imprisonment over gang rape and torture case of a woman in Noakhali last year. Efforts and discussions with US will continue to change its decision on sanctions imposed on RAB officials, said Foreign Minister. Bangladesh is observing Martyred Intellectuals Day on Tuesday to commemorate the intellectuals killed by the Pakistani occupation forces and their local collaborators in 1971. In mourning, President M. Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina paid rich tribute to the martyred intellectuals. On behalf of the head of the state, his military secretary, Major General S.M. Salahuddin Islam, placed a wreath at Martyred Intellectuals Memorial in Mirpur to mark the 50th anniversary of Martyred Intellectuals Day. Various culture organizations in Bangladesh yesterday organized several cultural programs and paid floral tributes to those men of letters killed by the Pakistani forces and their collaborators during the Liberation War. A Noakhali court has sentenced 13 people to 10 years rigorous imprisonment in a case filed over gang rape and torture of a woman in Begamganj Upazila of the district last year. The District Women and Children Repression Prevention Tribunal 1, Judge Joinul Abedin, handed down the verdict today in presence of 9 accused. The court also fined them Taka 50,000 each, in default of which they will have to serve 3 months more in jail. A gang of criminals brutally tortured a woman after breaking into her house in the Upazila on September 2, 2020. Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen said their efforts and discussions with the United States would continue so that it changes its decision on designated sanctions imposed on some of the present and former officials of the Rapid Action Battalion RAB. He said this in a virtual media briefing, terming the Dhaka-Washington relations very sweet with continuous discussions on many issues. The Foreign Minister said they believe that there will be no impact on the relations between the two countries. He described the U.S. decision as regrettable and mentioned that by the large RAB is free from corruption and people have confidence in them. RAB plays a pioneering role against violent terrorism as well as drug trafficking in Bangladesh, he adds. At least 5 people were killed after a fire ripped through a plastic factory in Bogura's Adamdighi Upazila in afternoon. Duty officer of fire service and civil defense headquarters said the fire originated around 11:45 a.m. at the warehouse in Chantahar area. Bodies of 5 persons were recovered after 10 firefighting units doused the fire around 2 p.m. The factory used to produce disposable glasses and plates. Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir has been admitted to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University in the capital as he felt chest pain today morning. BSMMU Vice Chancellor Professor said Obaidul Qadir came to the hospital for routine checkup as he has been suffering from various health problems, including chest pain, kidney problem. He has also said that Qadir is doing well. Medical board will be formed soon and necessary tests will be done. 9 Dhaka South City Corporation drivers have been suspended over the death of Notre Dame College student Naim Hassan under the wheels of the DSCC garbage truck in Gulshan. The move was made against them for illegally running the vehicles allocated to them through proxy drivers. Also, a departmental case was filed against the drivers on charges of negligence of duty, misconduct and incompetence. However, the DSCC drivers will get a food allowance during the suspension. Of the 9 DSCC staff, 7 drive garbage trucks. The other drive light vehicles. The United Nations Foundation conferred this year's Champion of the Global Change Award to two eminent personalities, Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization. The award recognizes the extraordinary contributions of individuals and organizations striving to further to the work of the UN and advance its goal of a more peaceful, just and sustainable world for everyone, everywhere. The awards were presented in New York, USA. Professor Muhammad Yunus, Nobel laureate and founder of Grameen Bank, was given the award in recognition of his enlightened leadership. UN Deputy Secretary General Amina J. Mohammed presented the award and interviewed Professor Yunus on stage, focusing on his campaign for creating a 3-0 world. Viewers are taking a short break. Stay with Euro Bangla City SATV News. Welcome back. You're watching Euro Bangla City SATV News. Now international news. The Pentagon said Monday that no U.S. troops or officials would face disciplinary action for a drone strike in Kabul in August that killed 10 Afghan civilians, including 7 children. Spokesman John Kirby said Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin have received a high-level review of the strike that made no recommendation of accountability. The August 29 drone strike took place in the final days of the U.S.-led evacuation of Kabul after the Taliban seized control of the country. U.S. officials have said that they had intelligence of a possible Islamic State attack on the evacuation operations at Kabul airport and launched a missile from a drone at a target that was thought to be a car laden with munitions. In fact, they struck a family that included an Afghan man who worked for a U.S. aid group and 7 children. In early November, an initial report carried out by the U.S. Air Force Inspector General, Lieutenant General Sami said, called the strike tragic but an honest mistake. Afghanistan new Taliban rulers seeking the world's mercy and compassion to help millions of Afghans in desperate need, said Afghan Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. They are also committed in principle to education and jobs for girls and women, a marked departure from their previous time in power, and the Muttaqi also told media that the Taliban government wants good relations with all countries and has no issues with the US. He urged Washington and other nations to release upward of $10 billion in funds that were frozen when the Taliban took power August 15, following a rapid military sweep across Afghanistan of the sudden secret flight of US-backed President Ashraf Ghani. Making Afghanistan unstable or having a weak Afghan government is not in the interest of anyone, said Muttaqi, whose aides include employees of the previous government as well as those recruited from the ranks of the Taliban. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson could face the wrath of his party MPs on Tuesday, with dozens set to rebel against a vote to introduce new COVID-19 measures. Between 60 and 80 Conservative lawmakers are expected to vote against the government's latest COVID measures, which include a vaccine passport to access large venues and nightclubs, wearing masks indoors, and daily tests for contact cases as well as isolation. If 70 of his MPs break rank, it would be the largest rebellion since he led the party to a landslide victory 2 years ago. It comes with Johnson under large pressure following allegation that parties were held at the heart of the government this time last year when the country was on lockdown and such gatherings banned. A 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Indonesia today, the U.S. Geological Service said, as monitors warned of the possibility of hazardous tsunami waves. USGS said that the quake struck around 100 kilometers north of the town of Momere, of the depth of 18.5 kilometers in Flores Sea. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said hazardous waves are possible for coast located within 1,000 kilometers of the quake epicenter. The quake struck at 9:20 a.m. The damage and casualties could not be immediately confirmed. The opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics on July 26, 2024 will be held on the River Seine, organizer announced on Monday, breaking the long-held Summer Games tradition of a stadium possession of athletes and officials. More than 160 boats filled with athletes and officials from more than 200 countries will sail almost 6 kilometers, 4 miles between the Pont Austerlitz and Pont de Iana bridges in central Paris, with the 2024 Olympics closing ceremony scheduled to be held at the Trocadero, an expanse of gardens and fountains overlooking the Eiffel Tower. There are a lot of emotions, a lot of enthusiasm. The opening ceremony is far the biggest of makers. Paris 2024 organizers are expected crowds of 6 lakh people for what they call the largest ever Olympic ceremony. Kenneth Branagh's childhood-inspired Belfast and Jane Champion's Dark Western, The Power of the Dog, topped Monday's Golden Globes nomination as the troubled awards seek to shrug off the Hollywood boycott over ethical lapses. Belfast and Power of the Dog collected 7 nominations apiece for the 79th Golden Globe Awards. However, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, with votes on the Globes, has been under fire over allegations of racism, sexism, bullyism and corruption. Studios including Warner Bros., Netflix and Amazon are refusing to work with HFPA and television network NBC and drops its Globe broadcast next month, meaning an A-listers are unlikely to attend whatever form of ceremony is held. Before ending, we go to the Euro-Bangla City SATV News headlines again. Bangladesh observes Martyred Intellectuals Day today. President and Prime Minister paid rich tributes. Noakhali court sentenced 13 people to 10 years imprisonment over gang rape and torture case of a woman in Noakhali last year. Efforts and discussions with the US will continue to change its decision on sanctions imposed on RAB officials, said Foreign Minister. We're up to date so far here on Euro-Bangla City SATV News, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.